Krásné dobré ráno. Good morning, Elke.
Good morning, Ivana.
And welcome in Prague.
Thank
welcome on Equal Pay Day conference. I'm so happy to have you here because your career is truly inspiring. And you know, your wide business knowledge through the years is just amazing. And as we are coming from the food company, you know, creating and selling, baking such nice brands like Milka and Opavia, we are every day talking about, you know, recipes and quality. So, Elke, what is your recipe for success? And also, tell me how to make our professional life more quality, but also with equality. Stage is yours.
Thank you. So thanks for having me. So I try to put it in here. If you don't hear me, I need to put it in my hands again. Does that work? Yes. So maybe I keep it in my hand. So I have a first question for all of you. Because gender pay equality starts with all of us, right? So who has ever asked for a pay increase or more money when you got a promotion? Please raise your hand. That is not too bad. So I see a lot of Mondelez ladies over there. That concerns me a little bit, right? So seems we have already the right culture, so maybe that is good, right? So, and that is good if you did that, right? But you also have to do that if you want to get more. And there is a difference between men and women when it comes to negotiating for your own salary and your own pay, and it starts with us, right? So there are still women out there who wait to deserve it, right? Or who don't know how to do that, or who are maybe even concerned to be seen as difficult, right? So, or happy that they are already there where they are, right? And don't dare to ask. But my first message to you would be, you have to ask for what you want, because men do that. And budgets are tight, so managers don't read your mind, so they give it to those who are asking for it, right? So that would be the first start, you know, and I think one of the schemes is, you know, use your voice, so that is the first ask, to use your voice. If you look into the World Economic Forum data, the data tells us if progress goes as fast or slow, in that case, as it goes now, it takes us over 100 years to get to gender equal pay. So I will be dead by then, and you are too. So that is not good news, right? So I think we need to be impatient, and we need to become impatient, men and women, to get there faster and earlier, because, you know, our children should benefit from that too. And if you look into the situation for Czech, and I did a little bit my homework for today, I saw that Czech is on place 76 when it comes to the global statistics out of 156 countries. So you're in a middle range somehow. There are a lot of sub-Saharan African countries ahead of Czech. You can think about that, right? So first place is, by the way, Iceland, and one of the last places is Afghanistan. So these are the obvious ones. But there is one even more important statistic to it. You're on the first place when it comes to educational attainment. 60% of the graduates in Czech are women. So you're super smart, but underpaid. So that's the message, right? You can easily get out of these data. So you have all the potential. You could get there faster than 100 years, but there are probably some obstacles that you're facing in Czech, you know. And I had a couple of conversations yesterday with a team, and I asked a couple of women, so what is standing in your way, right? So you're smart, you're educated, you know, so what is standing in your way? So, and I think these few minutes are probably enough to go deeper on that question. But what I heard from everybody is there is a long dropout of women out of the workforce when it comes to motherhood. And there are mothers in other countries too, obviously, right? And they are not dropping out for 3 or even 6 years if you have 2 children, right? And I think it's called parental leave. It's not called maternity leave for 6 years, right, or 3 years. It's called parental leave. So what would certainly help is if that dropout of the workforce is equally distributed between men and women. And another statistic information here is only 2% of men take the parental leave. So now I think we don't have so many men in the room, so that I want to put those, you know, on the spot who are here. But I can imagine that also men would really benefit from the fact, that this is equally distributed. You don't feel like your career, is disadvantaged when you drop out of the workforce. And if you would see gender pay equality also as an opportunity for men and women to have equal choices, to enter the workforce, choices, to take care of children, and choices to go back. And it would not only be the woman dropping out of the workforce. I think that would be already a great step ahead. So my follow-up question was now so what is stopping you from coming back earlier? And what I heard loud and clear was more institutional support is needed for early childcare. So that would be needed then for men too, obviously, right? So which brings us probably a little bit to a stereotype, that seems to be still here. And I know that from my home country, Germany too, the feeling of you're the breadwinner for the family, right? Which is an obvious stereotype, because if 60% of the women are graduates, from university, there is no need, to feel that burden only on one shoulders. It could be on 4 shoulders, right? So if you look into the statistics and data, there is probably a lot that can happen. I think nothing can happen if only the women push for it. So I think there is a need to see that as a human right. There is a need to see, having one part of the workforce dropping out. This is something, where you can't benefit from the prosperity and the wealth of a country if that is the case. McKinsey did a study where they said 10% of GDP in Czech could increase if women have the equal participation in the workforce, equal growth, equal careers than men. So I think there is a lot of potential out there, but there is also a need for men allyship on that agenda. So my hope would be that in a year or so, let's be brave here, in a year or so, we see 50% men on this conference, because they have the same interest than women to change that faster than in 100 years. And my ask to you would be impatient for that agenda and find a win-win with men to fight for a gender equal pay. So that's my part, Ivana. I haven't talked that much about me and my career, right? So, but I wanted to talk a little bit with you about the various parameters that bring us hopefully also forward to change that.
Thank you, Elke. Can I have just follow-up questions, 1 or 2? First one would be, when I started my career, and it is more than 20 years ago, unfortunately. Yeah?
Same here.
But at that time, I was in the team, and my manager and leader, she was really great, very smart woman, but she was really tough to herself. She was also tough to us to succeed. Is it still the case today? Do you really see that if women are today successful, they need to be more tough and really working more hard than men?
So I don't know, obviously, for all the women, right? But there is probably still a little bit of a tendency to feel like, I need to be better. And there is probably also a bit of a fear, and I heard that from a couple of women, not to be the quota women, right? So this feel of, I need to really deserve to sit here at that executive leadership table, right? Interestingly enough, men are less nervous that they are sitting there just because it is a privilege, right? So a lot of men sit at the table because they are men. But I have never seen this nervousness of, do I really deserve to sit here? Or is that just because of a patriarchic structure or a systemic thing, right? So I think women should relax a little bit more about that. Maybe there is a need for more role modeling there as well, right? So during my career, I never felt like, I have a woman to look up to, right? So, I mean, everybody was happy to have Michelle Obama one day, right? So, and then we all talked about Michelle Obama. But, you're searching for this, role modeling and different styles and different personalities and different type of women. But I think, hopefully times have changed, but there's probably still a little bit of tendency to do more. And honestly, I think women do more. Because you go to work and there is still a lot of household work and children care and all of that also on women's shoulders. So it's not only about parental leave, it's also a lot about, when you come home, it's not like you have your feet on the table and then, you prepare for the next day, right? So there's a lot of work on top of that. So there is probably, in any case, more than just work for women.
Thank you so much. And maybe one more and last question, because I see the time ticking as a bomb. If you would give one tip to the managers, men or female, doesn't matter, I think, what would it be that he or she would make his team successful, but as well diverse?
Beside the fact that we know that more diverse teams are better teams, more high-performing teams, you have less blind spot in a more diverse team. The tip I would also give is don't be afraid of diversity and different opinions, because if you're really a truly diverse team, you're less homogeneous. That means, you have more tension, more discussions, more conversations, and you need to be open to that, right? But you also need to take the challenge for yourself and speak up and have your voice. And my experience is it is not easier to have a more diverse team, but it's much more fun. You get much more out of that, and you always have to have someone in your team closing your own blind spot. So that is even in the conversation you have with a more diverse team, because people are very different and everybody has a different view, right? So this is just enhancing your own leadership, right? Because these times of I tell the directions are over, right? So you want to hear a lot of voices and insights, and then you make your decision.
Thank you so much, Elke. And I understood from your speech you will come in 1 year time to check that men are here, so I count with you. So thank you so much.
I come back when they are here, okay? To
so
fight with you, right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ivana.
Ja vás ešte poprosím, dámy, zostaňte na pódiu minútku. Can I ask you just for a minute to stay at stage? Elke, Ivana, thank you very much for great inspiration and also call to actions for ladies. So many clever ladies in the room, of course also men who are here. And there is a great unlocked potential. So underpaid, so let's go and ask for it, and also be active also for other women. There is a great question for you, Elke, in our eventee application. What you would advise ladies in the room to do to more engage men in this discussion, especially in the society which is very traditional in Czech Republic? Is there anything what we could do differently so they are really interested and engaged?
I think it's always good to show men what is in for them in every topic, right? So if someone is not engaged, you need to show the person what is in for them. And I'm sure that a next generation of men is probably also quite interested to see their family and children from time to time and take care of them, right? So maybe one sentence about a company. I don't think they're here today. Maybe they don't feel they don't have to anymore, right? So in IKEA, there is a situation that if you don't take some parental leave, and some time out when you get a child, it is not seen as, taking the full responsibility. So this is almost like a leadership advantage for men. And I found that a very interesting approach to that, right? So think, about, what could be in for men if they are not having the whole burden of being a breadwinner only on their shoulders, and what is in for them if they have a true partnership with their woman, and they have also the choice to go home earlier, to pick the kids up from the kindergarten, right, to bring them to school. And I think pandemic has told us probably other lessons to learn out of that, right? So I think there is a lot in for men as well, to have another flexibility in life too.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies, once again. Great inspiration.